I'm Chris Berry, and you're listening to Chris Gordon on Ramblings of a Hellblazer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Hellblazers and listeners wherever you may be. This is Chris Gordon, Ramblings of a Hellblazer, bringing to you yet another interview, this time with a gentleman called Christopher Berry, who has been in various films such as 12 Years a Slave, and working alongside Quentin Tarantino in Django Unchained, as well as Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, etc., in The True Detective, and most recently appeared in The Walking Dead. So, I bring to you Christopher Berry. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, I'm here today with Chris Berry, who is been known for quite a lot of things, basically. He has been in Django Unchained with Quentin Tarantino, 12 Years a Slave, True Detective, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Resurrection, Salem, quite esteemed roles to be in and play there. So I've just lost your picture, sorry. There you are.
No worries.
So yeah, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.
Finally get to chat to you.
Yeah, I actually don't do Skype very often, so just bear with me. It's kind of I have to remember to look at the camera as opposed to here at your face, and now I'm not looking at the camera, so it's just a little odd.
Oh, that's all right. No, I know exactly how you feel because my camera's slightly up, so you'll see that I'm looking down as well.
Right.
I still get used to it as well. Don't worry. At least your location looks a lot better than mine.
Yeah, I'm in New Orleans actually. It's uncanny. It's almost Christmas, but it feels like it's a beautiful warm spring day.
Oh, that's pretty cool. It's supposed to be 16 degrees here this week as well, centigrade. That's really warm for here. That's unseasonably.
I've never really gotten the whole centigrade Fahrenheit thing down. Americans are pretty backwards as far as metric system and stuff like that is concerned.
I've got
you have to be drug kicking and screaming to comply with the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think is it the 50s? It must be around the 50s, I think, something like that. I don't know.
That's not bad.
No, it's pretty warm. Yeah, they say it's unseasonably warm anyway.
Yeah. Well, global warming, bud.
Oh yeah. Can't do anything to stop it.
At least not from our perspective.
No. We're screwed.
Yeah. Well, I don't have children, so at least I have that going for me.
Oh, right, yeah.
I can't feel guilty for bringing a child into this world. But I do have nieces and nephews, so God bless them. I hope things work out for them.
Oh, yeah. I've got my little 8-year-old, so hopefully, yeah, as long as he's well past a couple of 100 years' time, it'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
Well, we're pretty dismal. Let's move on to something
a
little more.
Yeah, what a great start to the show.
The world's doomed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about movies.
Cool. So, yeah, as I say, I know you're friends with JD, and obviously he introduced me to you.
Yeah.
You've starred a couple of times with him, haven't you?
Yeah, we worked together. We'd met each other in an audition before, but we really kind of got to be pretty good pals working on Django Unchained together.
Uh-huh.
We were members of I don't know if you recall the particular scene that we were in together, but it was the bag head scene where they're all bitching about the holes that are cut in the bags.
Right.
Yeah, JD's the guy that spits through his eye hole, spits his tobacco through his eye hole. I'm the one whose wife made the bags, and I get all pissed off and take my big red ball and go home. Which, oddly enough, might get my feelings hurt, and it saves my life. I don't get blown up.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But, JD and I hit it off pretty well. We're both Southern boys, so, we have a lot in common. He's from Mississippi. I'm from Texas originally. So.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Good old boys.
Yeah. Well, we both sort of, we identify as sort of country boys, but by the same token, we're both city boys,
Yeah.
We've done our stint out in Los Angeles, and, personally, New Orleans is as big of a city as I really care to settle down in. I love visiting other cities, I love New York. I love visiting Los Angeles, and I've been to Europe, been to some big cities over there. I've never been to the UK, but it's on my list.
Cool.
But as far as home's concerned, New Orleans is big enough. About 200,000 people.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No.
It's actually on my list of places to visit as well. It's the culture and the scene at New Orleans just looks awesome.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great city. I fell in love with it, and you know, they say you either love it or hate it. You know, so it's not for everyone. There's definitely, it has its rough edges, but it's unique. There's no other city in the United States like New Orleans. So yeah,
Cool.
I encourage you to come visit. Let me know. I'll buy you a couple of pints when you're here.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All
I think the nearest we're getting to next year is Florida, as usual. The good old tourist place of Orlando.
right. Yeah. My girlfriend lives in Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's
She
not
hates
too-
it.
Yeah, there's the dismal again. Yeah. Thanks for putting a downer on that one. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Cheers, Chris.
No worries, man. You can count on me.
All right, cool. So with Django Unchained, then, what was it like working with Tarantino? I've asked JD the same. It's obviously, you know, the guy's probably one of the best, if not the best, one of the best directors out there.
Man, I would. It would be hard for me to not say that he's the best. I mean, it was an amazing experience, and the cool thing about it was, and it just sort of happened to work out this way. Is I actually ended up playing two characters
Right.
in the film, so I ended up spending a lot of time, not necessarily acting, but just there,
Yeah.
you know. And I got to watch him work, just day in and day out. And I have to say, he's probably one of the most high energy people, not just directors, but people that I've ever met. I mean, the guy is just nonstop from the moment he wakes up in the morning to the moment his head hits the pillow. I'm sure he's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And I've never met a director that could inspire a cast and crew like Quentin. I mean, we would be working 14, 15 hours, and just everyone is just their tails are just dragging, and he'll gather everyone together and just say, okay, that shot was awesome, that was the one we wanted.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one more, and then he'll say why, and the whole crew and cast will be like, because we love making movies. And it's like, it was electric. You know, everyone was back in the game and ready to go. So, but it was amazing. He's a brilliant man, and to be honest with you, he's a sweetheart. He's just he's a genuinely nice guy.
Oh, cool. That's good to hear.
You know, people who speculate about big famous actors or directors and stuff. You know, you can't really get a sense of who they are through things like you know, documentary behind the scenes stuff, and so you really have to just kind of.
Oh, you've frozen. Is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, you've frozen out on me here, Chris.
He's a sweet dude. Oh yeah, sorry for that a little bit too.
Ooh.
But yeah, he's a fantastic guy. Excellent director. Probably my favorite. The second would probably be Gary Ross. I just finished a film called Free State of Jones that he directed.
All right. Cool.
Fantastic guy in and of himself. But I hope to work with Quentin again. I know he says he's only going to make 10 movies. I hope he's lying. Part of me thinks that I don't know that he could ever actually stop making movies.
Yeah.
Because he really does. He's got more money than King Solomon, so he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame or the recognition or anything like that. He honestly just loves film. He loves making movies.
Yeah.
So I hope he continues.
No, it would be awesome. He just he has just a knack, and his style is just so unique, and it comes across. The energy can come across in the film as well. So obviously, it's good to hear that he sort of energizes you guys as well.
Yeah, he does, and I think everyone who works for him, even the A-listers, you know, I think they're better actors for his direction.
Yeah,
it's something about him that, you know, and his dialogue, you know. It's interesting to me about Quentin, which I really dig. The first thing he ever asked me when I went in to meet with him for the first time, the first thing he asked me, I have this movie on my resume called Swamp Shark.
Right.
It's this little, I wouldn't even call it a B movie. I would call it maybe an L or an M movie. It was made for the Sci-Fi Channel here in America. And just cheesy movie about a shark in a swamp. And that was the first thing he asked me about. On my resume, he's like, "Tell me about Swamp Shark." So I did, but the thing is that, you know, I sort of realized after a while that you don't get to be in a Quentin Tarantino movie if Quentin Tarantino's not a fan of you.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I feel like he saw this dinky little movie, and he watched the tapes that I did, you know, before I actually got called in, and I could tell he liked what I was bringing to the table, and it's that way with everyone he casts, and I mean down to like the lowest on the totem pole background actor. You know, he knows their names. He knows everyone's names. It's just cool because you get a sense that it's his thing. Yeah. And every little piece of it, you know, he has a hand in. It's cool. It's just I couldn't say enough about working for him. It's just an amazing experience.
Awesome. Yeah, it's got to be. You never know. One day maybe I'll get him on this.
Well, you never know.
Mr. Tarantino, if you are listening, come on down.
That would be cool. That'd be cool.
I think I'd faint.
Well, he's got a great sense of humor too. That's another thing. It's really tough to explain. He's got a very infectious sort of energy about him. So I think he would put you at ease pretty quickly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He totally owned me though. I'll just be sat gobsmacked. Like with you guys, just ramble away, just talk. It's great.
Yeah, well, you know, the first time I met him, it really was kind of surreal. I met him at the Roosevelt Hotel down in downtown New Orleans, and it was just one of those things where he there's 2 or 3 of us here in New Orleans that were reading for Django, and I was handed this page that was the Baghead scene, and literally I was reading the scene, and
you're in robotic again. Hang on, Chris. I've kind of lost you.
To meet him, and can you see me now?
Oh,
we're back.
Yeah, you've kind of you're blotchy, but you went all robotic. I missed all of that.
Ah, shite. Well,
sorry, dude.
Anyway, I guess my point I was making was it was kind of surreal meeting him for the first time in New Orleans, more or less. But it took maybe 2 seconds, and he put me totally at ease, and we just had a great chat, and then I read a couple of scenes, and the rest is history.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. JD as well, he'd had nothing but praise as well, so it's great. He just said his knowledge on films, from a history of film, is just outstanding.
It's uncanny. I mean, the man is an encyclopedia when it comes to film. And I'm talking about the most obscure 70s sitcom that you might ever think of. Quentin knows the actors. He knows who directed what episodes.
Good God.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. But he does say this. He said, I didn't go to film school. I went to films. Yeah. And I think you can tell that from his from his films. There's something. I guess that's why it's unique. Is he really? He just sort of internalized everything he ever saw when he was a kid growing up, and then it just comes out through this Quentin Tarantino filter, and it's just absolute brilliance. At least I think so. Some people don't care for him, but I think they're crazy.
Yeah. I guess he has a certain style that some people might not appreciate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's subjective, art is subjective, so...
Oh, it is, yeah. You're going to get your people who like it, you're going to get your people who hate it. Personally thinking Inglourious Basterds is one of my favourite films.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of mine, too, actually. People say that the whole revisionist history part of it was kind of bugsome. Some people say that. I absolutely loved it. And,
that's what it was. It was
amazingly cathartic to see that theater at the end with Hitler getting killed, and it's just all the Nazis going down. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was like, it was meant to. It's entertainment. It's for those the revisionists. Yeah, okay. So what? It's just for entertainment. It's not supposed to be historical.
Yeah. If you want to, watch some history, go to the History Channel. Quentin Tarantino's not here to teach us what happened. He's here to make us absolutely just have a ball.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he had never made that movie, we might not ever have Christoph Waltz in popular culture now.
Oh God, yeah, he's fantastic. He's just superb as well.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
It's a bingo. Yeah,
it's a bingo.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cool. Anyway, we're not here to talk about him. As I digress, I am talking about all these other people, but yourself.
Right.
So
cool.
True Detective as well. You played 2 characters, Guy Francis and Danny Fontenot.
Yeah.
What was it like working with those? Go with McConaughey and.
Woody.
Woody, yeah. Sorry, I was completely blank then. Sorry. Cheers, Chris.
Well, I've actually subsequently worked with both of them since then.
All right, cool.
But in fact, I worked with Woody in a film that's coming out next year called By Way of Helena, and I worked with Matthew in The Free State of Jones, which is a Civil War drama based on a true story. It was insane. It was really intense. The thing about the scene with Matthew, now, Danny Fontenot, that was actually rather low key because he was disabled and there wasn't a whole lot to be done in the scene. But the Guy Francis scene with Matthew was pretty intense. And the thing is that we both we're both Texans.
Right.
We're both huge University of Texas Longhorns fans. We have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And so we kind of established that right off the bat. We kind of knew where we were coming from. But we had a discussion about this scene. It was shot so intimately, and it was in such close quarters in this interrogation cell that we realized that pretty much right away that the traditional sort of pulling your punches and all that was not going to fly.
Right. Because
the audience would be able to pick up on that.
Yeah.
So Matthew basically he said, it's like, listen, I'm gonna have to rough you up a little bit in this scene. That gonna be all right with you? I said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, do me a favor. And he goes, what's that? And I said, put some fucking pepper on it. Don't hit me like a girl. And he says, well, I wouldn't expect anything less from a man from San Angelo, Texas. And then he proceeded to ring my bell for about 12 to 15 takes. But we were both really happy about it,
Yeah.
And when I met up with him again, because I play his character's best friend and first lieutenant in Free State of Jones. When I met up with him again, it was the first thing we talked about was True Detective. And the thing was, he was so excited too. He filmed the whole thing and everything. But he and Camilla every Sunday night during the time that season 1 was airing, every Sunday night they were in bed with a glass of wine, ready to watch True Detective, just like everybody else in the country,
awesome.
or the world. And he was just as thrilled about it as everybody else. So
yeah,
we both we're both pretty happy with the way that scene came out.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Cracking impression of him as well. There.
Oh, yeah. I hope he appreciates it.
with his old southern drawl he's got.
Yeah, it's that North Texas drawl is what it is. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, talking about that other swamp one, I'm just looking at one here as well. Raging Cajun Redneck Gators. What was that about? Sounds fun.
Well, it's about what you would expect. I mean, imagine Cajuns, imagine weird gators.
Yeah.
You tainted moonshine, turning Cajun men into alligators. That's basically just a boilerplate, Cajun weird gator movie.
Cool.
Yeah, that was another one of those sort of cheesy, made for sci-fi movies. And the fact is it was one of those things where I didn't really need to do it. I'm at a point now where I'm not no longer dependent on ramen noodles and change from the floor mats of my car. So I didn't really have to do it, but my friend Richie Montgomery was in it, and it was just 2 weeks running around the swamp having fun. And so I did it, and
awesome.
and it's not going to boost my profile or win me any Academy Awards or anything, but it was a good time. I can tell you that.
Cool. Some of those sci-fi movies, to be fair though, as someone who watches them, they are really they are fun. They're great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if you just take it for what it is, it's not, they're not, it's not like great literature or anything like that. It's not, great cinema. But, if you just take it for what it is, just a fun kind of hour and a half to, kind of sit back and let your brain jellify, then yeah, get a kick out of it. I can tell you it was fun to make. I worked with the lead actress in the film was a young woman named Jordan Henson. And got to be great buds with her. She's fantastically fun to play with and hang out with. And I ended up meeting her dad, who's an LAPD cop, and be buddies with him.
Awesome.
You really can have fun drinking at the Holiday Inn bar with an LAPD off-duty LAPD officer. I'm testament to that. It can be a blast.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
John McClane, well, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Cool. No, that sounds great. I say, like you say, sci-fi movie. I'm gonna look at Sharknado. Look at what that did.
No kidding. I mean,
And
that's
that's just
insane.
the most terrible movie ever.
It's
But
just
it's
the
fun.
premise is insane. But I mean, a tornado that throws sharks at people. I mean, but it was good enough to get a sequel
I know, yeah, and a third one as well.
and a third one. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, very, very. Cool. You're also in Zoo as well, which was quite recent.
Yeah.
I watched that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Intense
In fact, it was renewed. So
It
there's
has
a
been, yeah.
chance I might be coming back. I'm not sure. I haven't heard from the network on that yet. But
All right, cool.
I play the lead character's next door neighbor. So who knows? You never know.
Well, that'd be awesome if you did.
Yeah, I was actually really kind of jazzed about that particular character because I'd just come off of 3 months off of Free State of Jones, following Matthew McConaughey around in the swamps of South Louisiana, which was physically exhausting. So my character in Zoo was actually had a missing a leg, so I had to just kind of be in a wheelchair the whole time. Hardly any physicalness about it at all. So that was kind of cool.
Fair
That was
enough.
me being lazy, really.
Yeah. Just getting time to rest out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, Zoo is a good series. I've got to admit, I can't wait for the second season on that one. It was a different, interesting concept about it all.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where they go with it as well.
Well, yeah. So hopefully you can get back into it.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain.
Cool. Other more recent things as well I can see here is like New Orleans, or NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
a couple weeks ago, or actually a couple months ago.
yeah. Is that Scott Bakula, that one?
Yeah.
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 What's he like? A quantum leap geek. I really am.
Well, you know what? He's a cut up. He really is just a cut up. He's really just friendly and relaxed and just likes to just make jokes.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big fan of his too, and I was kind of wondering what he was going to be like. But he's just a very sweet, very funny guy. Very cool guy. Very, very easy to work with.
Yeah.
I work with him and Lucas Black as well.
Right.
And both guys are just really just stand-up guys. I like them both a lot.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go back down your history again now as well to 12 Years a Slave because I missed it out before for some reason when I was going past Django Unchained. What was that? That was one hell of a powerful film.
Yeah, it was, and I kind of knew going into it, just based on the subject matter, that it was going to be pretty powerful. But I think really Steve McQueen's taking the lead on that was what really kind of pushed it over the edge.
Right.
He's a very intense man. He's an artist. He knows exactly what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. People ask me what it's like to work with him, and the truth is that, especially in the scene between Chiwetel Ejiofor and I, the initial scene, the one that's horrifying. Basically, Steve just put the camera in a spot and just let me and Chiwetel do our thing. And we really hadn't made much contact with each other before the scene, so we really didn't know each other very well.
Right.
Which I think was, now in retrospect, I think that worked out really well.
Yeah.
Because there was no sort of preconceived notions on either side, and it was, we really kind of met each other as our characters.
Yeah, so there was a kind of a anxiousness and
real tension there.
Yeah.
Which I think played really well. That was a difficult scene to do, but I honestly think, if you're going to resurrect someone like James Birch, who was an actual slave trader in Alexandria, if you're going to resurrect someone like that, you might as well show them for who they really were.
Yeah.
And I think it was important to do justice to the dark side of the film, even though, I'm pretty much the antithesis of a man like James Birch.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to reach down inside you and pull that darkness out and use it.
Yeah. I was going to say, it must be hard to sort of play a character like that who you in real life, you are the antithesis, and you actually despise that kind of, it must be difficult to reach and find somewhere where you can do that.
Well, I tell you what helps is someone as gifted as Chiwetel, selling it.
Yeah.
Like when I was, of course I was pulling the strikes. Mm-hmm. We had a stunt coordinator there. He had a gatorback thing on his back, but he sold it so well that it literally did feel like I was beating him.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a feedback loop when you're working with someone like Chiwetel, Ledger for. I mean, he's so talented that he made me better.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It was really a real honor to be able to play a scene with someone that talented.
Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
the film itself. I mean, I was in tears. It was. It really. It's just one of those. It's just.
I can tell you right now, Chris. I've seen it one time.
Yeah.
I saw it at the cast and crew screening that they had here in New Orleans. And
Yeah.
I haven't been able to watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things where it's gut wrenching. I mean, it's an important film, and I honestly do think, especially I think Americans should see it.
Mm-hmm.
But and you know, and there's been some complaints about how it took a British director and a largely British cast to tell this story. Well, but I don't really think that's important. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't really think that's really the point. You know, the truth is they told a story that was actually a true story.
Yeah,
and they did it in a way that was faithful, 100% faithful to the source material, and they came up with something that was just absolutely stunning in its power and it was dark, but it's also it happened. You know, this is our legacy. This is what this is where we came from, and in a lot of ways, it's still it. There's a reason why we are where we are right now, and part of it is that element of our history.
Well, definitely, yeah.
I think it's better to confront it than to pretend that it never happened.
Well, it is, yeah, definitely. It was. You're right. It doesn't matter who made the film. The fact is, it got made and it got seen. Right. I've only seen it once as well because, again, it's another one that I mean, obviously for you were in it, so you've got that emotion there as well.
Right.
But as someone who watches it, I'd love to watch it again, and I will. It's just one of those ones where you have to take some time. Like Schindler's List was that kind of. You have to take your time before you see that again.
I was actually going to mention that. Yeah, it's like Schindler's List. It took me probably 6 or 7 years before I could watch Schindler's List a second time.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one at university. Shows how old I am. When it first came out, we had a cinema club because it was a small uni, so they played it. And normally every Sunday night we watched the new film, and there was always jostling people with the pints going out, having a good old laugh and a drink.
Yeah,
we watched Schindler's List, and there was about 400 or 500 students in there, and I've never seen such a quiet and atmospheric. I think everyone just marched out slowly. No shuffling, no bustling. Everyone just walked out slowly, and there was just a stillness, and everyone was just so emotionally hit about walking out. So it was. I've never seen that before.
Like after 12 years after the screening, I actually went with JD, and afterwards, we drove home. We watched it. It was in a suburb, and we were driving home. Mm-hmm. I don't think either one of us said one word to the other. Which is unusual because usually after a movie, you'd chat each other up about, this and that. We were just both kind of just in shock at what we'd seen. Of course, the last half hour of the movie, I bawled like a little baby. I mean, it was the thing about the ending of that movie is it doesn't give you any. It doesn't let you down easy. What you realize at the very end is yes, he's free, but you realize just what they took from him. It wasn't just his freedom, and it wasn't just his dignity, and it wasn't just his comfort. They took literally 12 years of his life away from him. They took his children's childhood away from him. It just, and you see that on Chiwetel's face, how the gravity of it just sort of dawns on him, and the last thing he says is, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Okay. I'm. we need to move on because I don't want to bring it back to the dismal part, but yeah, it is a very powerful film.
No, I was actually going to try and find the name of the guy. There's a guy, I was going to say, it's just happened again in the UK. Bear with me a second while I cough.
No, go for it.
Sorry. Nice and professional.
Right.
No, there's I don't know if you've heard. It's just, when we're saying, obviously, the end of the film has just reminded me, there's a guy who's just come out from, I think he was the last Brit to be released from Guantanamo. And he was there for 14 years, and they dropped the charges, God knows how many years ago, and he's come back, and he said exactly the same. He said he's got no malice and stuff, which is, how is unbelievable, but he's got no malice. But he says the one thing he regrets is his kids don't know him, because it was 14 years he was away, and that was the one thing he was worried about.
I read an article about him just before getting on Skype with you. His child was born right as he was being imprisoned, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It was like Valentine's Day or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's been 14 years. His child has literally grown into a teenager, and he's never even met him until he was released.
Exactly.
But yeah, I remember seeing a picture of his face, and he had the biggest, brightest smile.
Yeah.
And I remember he was coming off the tube, I think, and it was some guy in a wheelchair had asked him if he could help push him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just some regular, white guy.
Yeah.
And so he's like, here I am, an Arab, and this man asked me to, and he's like, I'll be delighted to push you. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
As opposed to being afraid of me because I'm an Arab.
Yeah.
And it's a very inspirational story. I find it really kind of heartening that someone can go through that for so long and not come out of it twisted and negative, but rather positive,
Yeah, definitely. I just came to mind, as I say, because we were talking about 12 Years a Slave, I was thinking, actually, that probably rings quite true. That very, very similar in some respects.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, moving on from that before we go politically.
Yeah.
No worries. So I don't know if you can talk about this one, because I know this one's a new one coming up, and it's The Walking Dead. I don't know how much you can say about this.
Well, I can talk about what's already aired.
Fair enough, go on. Yeah, I won't ask you to do any spoilers or just get yourself completely in trouble for what's coming up.
Yeah, well, they're pretty serious about the whole non-disclosure thing on that show.
Oh, yeah.
For good reason, obviously.
Well, yeah, it's one hell of a show.
I can tell you that it was really fun. They're a very inclusive cast and crew on that show, and that goes for everyone.
Yeah.
They were very, very cool. I enjoyed getting to work with Shaniqua and Michael and Norman. Just three of my favorite characters in the show, so it was really kind of awesome to be able to kind of butt heads with them. And it was kind of cool that I got to play kind of a tough guy character because a lot of times I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I'm playing a bad guy, I'm skeevy, kind of like Guy Francis, but it's more along the meth addict kind of guy as opposed to the sort of edgy kind of badass that I got to play in The Walking Dead. I can't tell you really much about what's going to happen, but I can tell you that the next season is going to be off the hook. From what I understand, it's going to be off the chain.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. And I tried to get on that show for like 5 years. I initially auditioned for the role that Norman Reedus is playing.
All right. Okay.
Which he got a kick out of hearing that. Obviously, it's definitely his role. So I'm totally satisfied with the way it played out. But I'm glad to finally have gotten a chance to be on the show because I love it. It's a fun show and it's one of my favorites on TV right now.
It's an absolutely brilliant show. You're right, Norman Reedus. I mean, obviously, wouldn't have got to see you there, but Norman Reedus as Daryl he's just absolutely awesome. He's
amazing, and you know what? Norman is just a very cool dude. He's a really nice. A nice person.
Yeah.
And Daryl Dixon is kind of rough around the edges, but I think it's really great what Norman's brought to that character. He's really had a phenomenal arc from the very beginning of the first pilot till now. It's been really interesting and fun to watch him. They all have really.
Yeah.
But Daryl Dixon in particular has had him and Carol, I think, are my two favorite character arcs.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's great. I didn't get a chance to meet her. I did get to meet Andrew Lincoln.
Right.
Great chap. Really liked the guy.
Yeah.
But didn't get to meet her. But I don't know. Maybe I'll be fortunate enough to work with her at some point in the future.
I won't probe you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So Walking Dead is phenomenal, and this season it's just sort of built up, and Michael Cudlitz is just. I mean, I loved him from Band of Brothers.
He was
great. Phenomenal.
Bull Randleman. Yeah, just wonderful. Bull Randleman. Yeah.
Trying to get hold of him as well. I mean, I spoke to Shane Taylor, who played Doc Rowe in Band of Brothers.
Oh, he's great too.
He's a really great guy. But yeah, Michael Cudlitz he's just. Again, he's another powerhouse on screen as well, so it must be great to work with someone like him.
It was, and the thing is that I really get to kind of you saw. I don't know if you saw the prologue for this scene, but I kind of get to go face to face with him, kind of head to head, and he's a big guy, he's tall,
yeah.
So the whole time I'm looking up at him, but I'm being threatening, but it's interesting because the man does have a steely gaze,
Right.
I wouldn't want to piss him off, He looks like he could easily dismantle me, all 140 pounds of me.
Yeah, he's a pretty intimidating looking guy.
Yeah. But he's great. I can't wait to see what happens with all their characters. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's going to be some massive development coming in there.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Negan coming up, which, that was kind of my favorite part of it is I'm the first person in the series to mention his name. So sort of a kind of iconic moment in the history of the series.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty proud of that then, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to toot my own tuba or nothing, but that's
pretty important, yeah. You toot your own toot, you blow your own trumpet, do whatever you want to do. It's great. No, that's fantastic. So, looking forward to more seasons of that as well. Might see more of you, I don't know. We'll have to few things. What else have you got lined up then? I'll move away from that so you don't get into trouble.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else lined up in the way of projects?
No, actually, the end of the year is coming up. I'm basically just kind of coasting through and waiting to see what comes up next year. The southeast region of the United States has quite a few film projects and television projects going on, which is fantastic. So, I'm just looking forward to seeing what pops up next year. This time last year, I had just auditioned for The Free State of Jones, and so I started that after the first year. Now, my character on Salem is dead, so I think I'm pretty much done with that. They cut my throat, but I'm interested to see how the third season of that pans out.
Yeah, that was a good season. That was a good series as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm just waiting to see what the future brings. I'm currently, I'm what I normally am, which is an unemployed actor, because that's what you are most of the time when you're an actor. Is you spend quite a bit of time waiting for the next project to see what comes down the road.
Which is why I told JD it's exactly what my parents told me and steered me away from acting because I was going to go into it when I was young. I did me exams and all that stuff, and I loved drama. I was in school musicals and plays, and I was going to go into what's the LAMDA, the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. I'd been asked to go down and audition for there, but my mum and dad were like, "No," they said, "We want you in a stable career." I was like, "Oh." So I'm glad they did because obviously the way I've gone, my life's been great and I've got a great life, but there's always that part of me which just thinks, I really.
Well, listen, there's the thing though is the thing about acting, which is great, is that there's never a cutoff point, In fact, I've heard some actors say that you really can't truly be an actor until you're at least 30 years old, just because you haven't lived enough life to really, throw it back out there. But I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to that notion. But you never know. I've known some actors that didn't start out till their 40s or 50s, late 40s, early 50s, and
true.
Now they're killing. So you never know. I would never put that dream away, Chris.
No, it's still there. It's still there. Hey, this time last year, I would never have thought I'd be doing a podcast talking to people like you. So,
hey, yeah, there you go. Yeah. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, so I'm praying now. Please, someone just out there, pick me. Someone pick me up. So you got to have that dream. It's a dream that you got. It's the passion and the dream that you got to keep alive because that's how you get on. But
I struggled for 13 years before I actually became what you call a working actor. I had all kinds of different odd jobs. And the truth is that I never actually intended to be an actor. It really was all kind of accidental. I'd originally, as a kid, my aspirations were to be a naval aviator. To the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, and I wanted to fly carrier aircraft. That was my my whole dream.
Pretty good.
An actor was sort of just an accident, and once I started on the path, I just was kind of like, oh well, shit. This is what I trained for. I might as well keep going.
Yeah.
And the truth is I just didn't give up. That would be the best advice I can give to any young aspiring actor is don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
The people who make it are the ones who just don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep going. I know quite a few amazingly talented actors out there that no one will ever see, no one will know, because they gave up.
Yeah.
But every bit as talented or more so than the people you see on the television or on the screen every day. But for whatever reason, they decided to hang it up and try something different.
Well, yeah, it's a tough life, but yeah, as I say, if you never get up and you keep pushing and keep pushing, you get the rewards, and you get. I mean, look at all the roles you've got. You've had some really cracking roles there.
Yeah, well,
and
I've
had
had projects. With some really great people. That's to me that's the best part of being an actor is the people that you meet while you're doing it. And I've been fortunate to work with some fantastic directors and meet some really fantastic other actors and some really fantastic crew people. And even, background performers. Some of the best friends that I have are guys or women or men that I've met, on set, and they're just, background. But you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to hit it off with. And you get to go different places and see different things, Yeah, it's definitely a slog, but if you can stick it out, it definitely is worth it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It sounds great. I say, meeting all those people, it's... it just sounds brilliant. I say the people you can work with as well, because people you can, even as an actor, obviously, like Tarantino, for example, like Matthew McConaughey, guys you actually respect yourself, and then all of a sudden one day you're like, shit, I'm working with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with some people that I've been watching my whole life. Keanu Reeves and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And, Renee Zellweger. Just this last film, I got to work with Mahershala Ali and Kerry Russell and Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who is fabulous. I've worked with her in a couple of films.
Yeah.
Just from some really just fantastic people from all over the world, really, and it's great. Playing the characters is fantastic. I don't want to sell the actual work short.
Yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic, but really the biggest reward is the people that you meet and get to work with, and you wake up every day and you're like, man, I can't be more thrilled to be going to work.
Yeah.
And I haven't always had that.
That's fair enough.
It's definitely a blessing. Definitely.
Yeah. I can say as an IT project manager, there's very few days that I can say that. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be going into I'm joking. For any of my my work colleagues who are listening, that's a joke.
Well, unfortunately, that's that way with lots of people. They don't necessarily take a whole lot of joy in what they do, but you have to put food on the table. That's really what it amounts to.
Yeah.
I've been lucky actually to have so many crazy odd jobs because I've learned how to do so many different things, and I think it's served my acting in the long run.
Cool.
I'm a great chef. I can make a fantastic cocktail. I can stain a concrete floor and cut patterns into it with a diamond saw.
Nice.
Not a bad carpenter.
You can come to ours, actually. We could do some carpentry being done.
Well, I don't know if I can actually do things to UK code. You guys have a system over there, I think.
Yeah, that's true. No worries, that's cool. That actually brings me to the end today, for now, anyway.
Right.
I would very much like to have a part 2. That would be sometime. That'd be great. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris.
Oh, no worries.
I'll just sign off now for the listeners. I'll ask you to do one more thing as well in a minute.
Okay, cool.
Cheers, hold on. Thank you very much. Awesome. Thanks very much for that, Chris. Absolutely fantastic chat with you. Thank you. Fascinating listening to those stories of Quentin Tarantino and many others. Thanks again for your time. I hope everybody enjoys the listen. And listen out and watch out for Chris Berry on other shows like The Walking Dead. Thank you very much. Goodbye.